welcome back to the Graceful Tangle YouTube channel. I'm Amy Kate, a young passionate knitter and crocheter. You can find all of the links to my various social media platforms in the description box below, as well as a link to my website, thegracefultangle.com, so be sure to go check that out if you haven't already. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. While you're here, we would love to have you. I'm thrilled to see this channel continue to grow, and your support means so much. So, I have been anticipating recording this video for so long, and I'm going to talk all about my completed All of the Lights cardigan by Joji Lopatelli. Now, even though I did just say mine and I am wearing it, this is not for me. This is a sample knit for Addyson of Ruby and Moses yarn. She supplied me with the yarn to make this beautiful cardigan, and I'll be sending it to her tomorrow, actually. As on the day I'm recording this, it'll be tomorrow. And then she will enjoy it for herself and use it as a shop sample, and then she will also be selling kits so that you can make your own All of the Lights cardigan. Now, this pattern is beautiful, intense, difficult, exciting, so many other adjectives I could use. I mean, this pattern is just, it has been a huge experience. So we're going to talk all about it. I'm so excited that it's finally complete, and let's go ahead and hop right into it. So I wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of an in-depth discussion about this pattern because it can be scary, to embark on. I mean, it is a heavily textured pattern. You have cables and lace and then stitch patterns. It's pretty intense. It's a pretty intense design for sure. I am still so amazed that Joji designed this pattern. It's crazy. I feel like if I had designed a pattern like this, it would be like my life's work. Like, okay, I'm going to put all of this effort into this one pattern, but then that's it. And I wouldn't have been surprised if she had done that. Like, seriously, that's how impressive this pattern is. But all of that aside, she's definitely still designing. And this is just another one of her beautiful, beautiful designs. Alrighty, so the way this is constructed is like no other pattern I have ever seen. You start here at the shoulders. Now, let me just preface this by saying this is the size medium. I am typically a size extra small or small in some shirts, and so it's very oversized on me, and while I actually really like the look, it fits me a little bit differently than it's going to fit somebody who is actually a true medium. So just kind of keep that in mind. I knit this for Addyson size, not for mine, so again, just keep that in mind, I guess, as this video goes on. So you start up here at the shoulder, so right here at this panel, and then this seam right here, this is where the body meets the sleeve, and that is where you stop. So you cast on stitches, work down, and then you pick up stitches for the back panel. So let me kind of turn around here. So you pick up stitches for the back panel, join the neck. I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see this, but I'm going to insert a bunch of pictures, so just stay tuned for that. And I have lots of close-ups, so you guys can enjoy those, and hopefully they'll give you a bunch of insight. But anyway, so then you join the back after working this side as well. You work all the way down the back until you reach the underarm. So this is where it's joined for the underarm. So you work the back, the front, the other front, and then you join it all into one big long piece and work all the way down the body. Now you continue working down the body and maintaining all of these charts until you get to the pocket separation. So then you do that step. I'm not going to go into too much detail because this is a paid for pattern. But you work with the pocket instructions, and then you cast on these stitches here and continue working all the way down, and then finally end with the ribbing. So another thing that I forgot to mention here at the beginning, this is not blocked. So when it is blocked, it's going to be even more beautiful because everything is just kind of going to open up and bloom. However, I'm waiting for Addyson to block it because she is going to, kind of block it to her finished measurements, which is completely understandable. So that's why it might look a little bit wonky in some places. I guess just keep that in mind, especially here at the bottom where you maintained the cable, that is going to need a good blocking, and I'm excited to see that when it's blocked, because we kind of had to avoid it in some of the pictures, because it just looks a little bit funky right now. Anyway, so if you've been tuning in to the podcast for honestly the past couple of months, you'll know that it was going really, really well, and then I made a huge mistake in the pocket separation and all of that jazz. Basically, what I had done is there was, in the pocket instructions, there was one sentence that is extremely crucial to the pattern, and I completely missed it. I just skipped it. I'm still not sure what happened. I don't usually do that in patterns, so I don't know. It's not, it's not italicized, it's not bold. I mean, it's not hard, to read in any way, so I don't know what exactly happened, but in short, I cast on stitches without putting any stitches on hold, and so I had about 50 extra stitches, and once I finished the body, yes, I finished it. Once I finished the body, I was looking at the pockets and I realized that it was not going to work, and so it was absolutely devastating to, get to that realization, just because this is a crazy big project. It was so much time, and so it was really hard to kind of come to grips with that. But I moved past it, ripped back, performed my most intense sweater surgery, or any surgery for that matter, any knitting surgery. I should preface that by saying knitting surgery. Obviously it's not important it's real surgery, but moving on. Performed my most intense surgery yet, and it was successful by some miracle. The other miracle is the fact that I did it at like 10 o'clock at night, which, if you know me, is super late for me. So yeah, I don't know, when motivation and inspiration hits, you just gotta roll with it, especially when it's something as intense as that. And I'm still so happy I made the decision to just do it. So I wanted to give a few tips about this pattern, because there's a lot of charts, there's multiple different stitch patterns, so I wanted to give you a little bit of insight onto what I did to make that a little bit simpler for myself. Okay, so almost as soon as I started this pattern, I realized that it was going to be impossible for me to keep track with where I was while maintaining the right spot, not being able to read it yet because it was my first time doing these charts, and I just wanted to be sure that I could do the best that I could and not make a big mistake. Obviously I made a mistake, but it's okay, and it wasn't because I got off track on the charts. So what I did, now I'm going to be careful how I say this, because again, this is a paper pattern, and so I don't want to give too much away, but I really, really want to help you guys as much as I can, and so I'm going to share this advice in a careful way. Let's just put it that way. So what I did is, when you look at the pattern, you will see that Hobie has charted out all of the separate charts. She also has written instructions. I personally use the written instructions, and there are, let me see if I can count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, about 12 separate charts that you have to follow. So each section, so for example, this cable is a section, this is a section, this lace is a section, this stitch pattern right here, which is my personal favorite, is a section. Let's see, this is a section, and I think that's, there's 2 others on the back that aren't on the front. Let me see if I can show you those. So this right here is a section, and there is another one on the opposite side. So right there, that is also a section. So what I did is I divided each of those up, and then I went to Google Docs and made a big chart. So here is what this paper looks like. Now I have already used this. This isn't brand new, so that's why you're going to see all of these marks. But basically what I did is wrote what row number I was on. So I divided the right side and wrong side on 2 separate pages. So this is the right side. So I wrote down the row number, and then I wrote down what row of each chart I was supposed to follow along that row. And I just went across and I checked it off as I went. I did that for every single row of the entire body. That is seriously the biggest piece of advice I can give you, is write down every single row. I know it takes time. This cardigan probably took me about 3 hours and longer. start to finish because I made these charts. But seriously, it helped so much. I cannot share this piece of advice more. If you are following a pattern that utilizes multiple charts that all have a different number of rows, I highly recommend just writing out each row because it saves you so much time in the long run. It's so much easier to just be able to look down and know where you are instead of having to backtrack and worse, get lost and rip back. Don't want that to happen. So that really is the biggest piece of advice I could give. As soon as I kind of realized that was what I was going to need to do, I immediately, sat at my computer and took the time to do that, and I do not regret a single second of it. It was so helpful. Now, I'm sure there's a better way to do that than making a chart like I made. However, that's the best idea I could come up with, and at that point, I was just like, okay, let's go with it, let's try it, and it worked really well, and I'm so grateful for that I had that idea, and then I went with it and did it, because, again, it was just a game changer. So, yeah, that is definitely the biggest piece of advice I could give about this pattern, and any pattern that utilizes multiple charts. But yeah, that's the biggest piece of advice for sure. Now, a couple of other things to note. I'm trying to think of what else would be beneficial for you guys. I did not bind off in pattern like the pattern says. So she says to maintain the rib. I did not do that. I bound off in knit. That was one of Addison's requests. So that is, of course, what I did. I didn't do that the first time, and she messaged me later asking if I could rip back and do that. And so I was more than happy to do that, and it worked out great because I had to rip back for the pockets anyway. And so that was that eased my frustration about the pockets a little bit, just because I knew I was going to have to rip back anyway. It was just going to be one row, but it turned out to be a whole lot more than that. But it's okay. It really did all work out for the best. So yeah, I'm going to stand up again so that I can show you. The pockets are definitely my favorite part. I love the way they're made. I actually made a big modification to them. I followed the pattern exactly. You knit this back panel here separate. You put stitches on hold and knit that separate. And then the instructions that she gave were to seam it to the back of the cardigan. Instead of doing that, I actually did not bind off the body. I just went all the way down to the ribbing. Then I went back and knit this piece. And then I added one row of knit all the way across before starting the ribbing. And I joined the pockets together on that row by knitting 2 stitches as one. So basically I just did knit 2 together all the way across that little panel, and then I finished off the row. It involved a little bit more math than I was originally anticipating because you had to make sure everything lined up correctly. I actually didn't do it correctly the first time and had to do it back. But it was so worth it. Really happy that worked out because I was so worried about, even though I could have seamed it well, I was so worried that she was going to put her hands in there or something and, it would have fallen through or her phone fell out. Like, you never really know. And I feel like that was a wise decision, and I'm really happy that I made it. I did whip stitch the sides of the pockets, but it looks great. There's no holes. I mean, I'm pushing on it now, and my finger is not going through. And it's really nice. I love it. Definitely love the pockets. Like I said earlier, my favorite pattern personally is this one. I can't wait to use it in something else in the future because it is so gorgeous. I've seen it in multiple places, and so I know, it's okay to use that in a separate design, but just as a note, as a designer myself, I would never use, a chart like this or one of these cable charts on the back just because they are more intense and more, I would be literally directly copying and pasting that, and that would not be okay. So a standard cable like this one, or this is fine, but you just have to put yourself in Hoey's position, or even your own. If I was writing a pattern and I came up with this stitch pattern that I was so happy with, I wouldn't want somebody to copy and paste that into their pattern. That would be so wrong. But yeah, I've seen this multiple times. I know it's a stitch pattern in and of itself. So I'm excited to use it for myself in the future. But love this cardigan. It took so long to make, so long. One row, just for reference, one row on the body takes 10 minutes. And there's a lot of rows in the body, guys. A lot of rows. So yeah, it took a really long time, but it was so worth it. I am so excited to be able to send it off to Addyson. I hope she loves it. I hope she wears it. Can't wait to see your guys' sweaters if you decide to purchase a kit from Addyson. She has beautiful yarn. This is the color of Velvet, if you're curious. She's going to have all that information up on her website, so you can check that out there, and it will be a much more direct way to get that information. But yeah, so next up for me, my, I guess, payment of sample knitting is actually going to be able to pick a few skeins of yarn for myself from Addison's shop. I am so excited. I've already got them picked out, just waiting on them to come in the mail, and I will most certainly be showing you guys that when it comes. I am so stinking excited. I have like a whole plan of what I'm going to use it for, and I cannot wait to show it to you guys. So yeah, that is my finished All of the Lights cardigan. Huge progress, or project, excuse me. Huge project. I feel like it's my life's work that I'm about to send in the mail, but it's totally not. There's so much more that I want to make, so much more that I want to do. So I'm going to insert a bunch of pictures here at the end that we took the other day, and I hope that you enjoy them. Let me know in the comments below if you have any other questions about this cardigan. I am more than happy to answer them. Just know that it is a paper pattern, so I won't be sharing, too much. But I really do want to give as much advice as I can about this pattern because it's a really great one. I definitely plan on making a second one day. I really want one for myself. However, it is going to be years. So just putting that out there. It's going to be a really long time before I make one. But yeah, I really love it, and I hope that Addison does too. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the pictures that are about to come up. And I will chat with you all next time. Bye.